Hello, everyone. In this video, we will be discussing some of the common challenges that arise in management, planning, and control in the public sector. As public administrators, we all know how crucial effective planning and control are for delivering services and achieving our goals. However, we also face obstacles that can prevent success. Today, we will dive into these issues, including planning failures, budget constraints, resistance to change, performance, measurement, and coordination problems between government agencies. As we know by now, planning is the foundation of any successful project, but in the public sector, we often face planning failures that lead to poor outcomes. There are several reasons for this. One major cause is inadequate information. Without the right data or analysis, we might set unrealistic goals or timelines. Another cause is political interference, where decisions are made to satisfy political agendas instead of focusing on project needs. We also see lack of stakeholder involvement, where communities, experts, or affected individuals are not consulted. This can result in plans that do not address the real needs of the population. When planning fails, the consequences are significant. We often see cost overruns where projects require more money than expected. This can lead to delays as we wait for additional funding, and in the worst cases, the entire project might collapse. To prevent planning failures, leadership plays a key role. Leaders must ensure that planning processes are inclusive and that they are transparent. This means bringing stakeholders into the conversation early and often. Data driven planning is also important. Decisions should be based on reliable, up to date information. Lastly, leaders need to be flexible, adjusting plans when challenges arise. Continuous monitoring helps ensure that projects stay on track. Now let's talk about budgetary constraints. In the public sector, we often operate under tight budgets, and this can have a big impact on our planning and resource allocation. When funding are limited, when funds are limited rather, we must make tough decisions about where to allocate resources. This might mean scaling down projects or even cutting back on initiatives. There are different methods for managing these constraints. One common approach is priority based budgeting, where we allocate resources based on strategic objectives. This helps ensure that the most important programs are funded, even when resources are tight. Another method is zero based budgeting, which requires each department to justify its budget from scratch. This encourages more efficient use of resources and helps eliminate unnecessary spending. Balancing competing priorities is always a challenge in public administration. For example, should we invest more in infrastructure development or social welfare programs? Both are very important to society, but with limited funds, we need to make careful decisions. Aligning our budgets with long term goals is important, as short term cuts can undermine the organization's mission. Involving stakeholders in budget planning can also help ensure that we're addressing the community's actual and real needs. Lastly, to manage limited resources effectively, we can use cost benefit analysis to prioritize projects with the highest return on investment. Resource optimization can help stretch our budget further, and looking for alternative funding sources, such as grants or private partnerships. These can provide additional financial support. Next, let's address resistance to change. Public organizations often face pressure to adapt to new policies, technologies, or organizational structures. However, resistance to change is common, and it can significantly slow down progress. There are several reasons why public employees might resist change. One is fear of the unknown. If people are unsure how changes will affect their jobs or their responsibilities, they are more likely to actually resist. Organizational culture is another factor. If the culture values stability and tradition, change can be seen as a threat. Poor communication also contributes to resistance, as employees may not understand why the change is necessary or how it will benefit them. Finally, if employees feel disconnected from the decision making process, they are more likely to push back. The culture of the organization plays a huge role here. In organizations where the culture is based on hierarchical decision making, it can be especially hard to introduce reforms. Similarly, if the culture values stability over innovation, employees may be less open to new ideas. Effective leadership is essential for managing change. Leaders need to communicate clearly and frequently about the reasons for change and its benefits. It's also important to involve employees in the change process by soliciting their feedback and addressing their concerns. Providing training and support can help ease their worries and give them the skills they need to adapt. To overcome resistance, involve staff in decision making. When employees feel they have a voice, they're actually more likely to support the changes. Additionally, recognizing and rewarding early adopters of this change can motivate others to follow suit. Lastly, open communication channels are critical throughout the change process. In the public sector, performance measurement and accountability are essential for ensuring that our projects and programs achieve their goals. However, many organizations struggle to establish effective performance metrics. And without clear measurement, it's difficult to know if we're making progress. Performance measurement helps us monitor progress, evaluate outcomes, and make informed decisions. Without it, we risk spending resources on projects that don't deliver resources results. However, it can be challenging to establish the right metrics. One reason is that many of the outcomes we aim for in public sector are qualitative, like improving public satisfaction or social welfare, which are harder to measure. Additionally, with multiple stakeholders involved, it can be difficult to agree on what success really looks like. Political influences may also lead to choosing short term, visible metrics over long term sustainable ones. Accountability is about ensuring that individuals and departments are responsible for their actions and the resources they use. This is critical in public sector as we are working with public funds and must be transparent about how they are used. Audits, regular reporting, and public oversight are all important mechanisms for holding people accountable. To improve monitoring and evaluation, we can use integrated performance management systems that track progress in real time. Regular audits and reviews help ensure that resources are being used effectively. We should also focus on continuous learning, using data from past projects to refine our approaches and improve future outcomes. Finally, let's discuss coordination failures between government agencies. Many public issues like disaster response or social welfare require the collaboration of multiple government agencies. However, poor coordination can lead to inefficiencies, delays, and even service gaps. Effective coordination is critical for tackling complex multi sectoral issues. For example, in responding to natural disasters, health, security, and social welfare agencies must all coordinate to work together. Without proper coordination, the response may be delayed or incomplete, and that leaves vulnerable populations at greater risk. There are several barriers to effective coordination. Bureaucratic silos often prevent agencies from sharing information or collaborating effectively. In some cases, conflicting goals or priorities between agencies can lead to disagreements over resource allocation. Lack of communication channels further exacerbates these problems, making it difficult for agencies to work together. Good communication is key to successful coordination. Agencies need to have clear communication protocols so they can regularly update each other and share information smoothly. Establishing interagency task forces can also help ensure that all relevant agencies are involved and aligned on their goals. In addition, shared information platforms allow agencies to collaborate more effectively and reduce duplication of efforts. Joint training and workshops can also help build relationships between staff in different agencies, creating a culture of cooperation. This way, even when agencies have different mandates and goals, they can still work together smoothly.